Hello, guys, and welcome to Behind the Bunker. It's Monday night. We are live here in our quarantine studio. I am by myself, but not for long. I have several people joining me on the Zoom tonight. If you guys are watching us, please hit that like and share button. We're also streaming live on our website, behindthebunker.com. We're streaming on YouTube right now, and we're streaming on Facebook. And if you don't have the wherewithal to sit with us for an entire hour, this is also being uploaded to iTunes, Podomatic, SoundCloud, Stitcher, anywhere you guys get your better podcasts from. So come and join us. Check us out there. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, do hit that subscribe button. And we're watching you guys on Facebook and YouTube for all of your comments as the show is going on. So if you want to get any questions in or comments up, please go ahead and do so. Now, with me, it's not just me. I have special guest Tom Kaye in the top left corner. How are you, Tom?
Doing great.
Very good. And on the other side of this bookshelf, we have Bud Orr on my left here.
Hey, glad to be on. Everything's going great.
He says that now. Wait till the end of the show. Then we have Matt the Crypt. How are you, sir?
Hello. Hopefully my audio is working, and I am looking forward to hearing plenty of stories and tales from these two renowned gentlemen.
Very good. And Joe Kimson from Flagger's Paintball.
Greetings and thanks for tuning in tonight to beautiful Behind the Bunker, and we are live with some paintball legends.
Yeah. We have, speaking of legends, Josh Zubizabrickus.
Yes, I'm super excited to be here tonight. I've been dreaming about this all day, so yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's go.
Very good. And I didn't wear the same hoodie tonight, Josh. And then we also have Gavin Sharma from TerraTech Industries.
I am here, and I don't know how functional I will be because I'm very, very giddy, like nipples hard, because we have two important guests who just make me quite happy to be involved in the sport of paintball. So I will try to at least hold the show together a little bit, but I'm fanboying out right now.
Boom.
Before we go too far, I just want to thank both these gentlemen for everything they've done. And at the same time, I have a little bit of a bone to pick with you two. Do you realize how much money you two have liberated from my wallet over the last 25 years? In all seriousness, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We thank you very much.
And I'm sorry, did we introduce Gavin Sharma? We did. Okay, very good.
It's Mr. Hard Nipples to you, my friend.
Sorry, that's why I dozed off there. I was in dreamland for a moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Todd Ansich. I'll be your host this evening, as well as all these fantastic fellows. We're going to sit down here and chat with Bud Orr and Tom Kaye. And if you guys are longtime viewers of our show, we've been on for 7 or 8 years, and we keep talking about wanting to have either of these gentlemen on the show, and we never got off our asses to do it until we realized that it's quarantine time. What else are they doing? They're not going to say no. And that's what happened. We got both simultaneously. So thank you guys for being on the show. Now, Tom, unfortunately, I don't think any of our panelists have met you in person. So this is our first time kind of having a chat with you, which is awesome. Bud, you, Joe and I actually did meet back in 2003. Not that you're going to remember this, but Joe and I was down for the LA Open, and our salesman, Michael Radgowski, probably not one of your best, but either way, he was one of your salespeople, invited us down. Mediocre. He invited us to your shop, and we took a tour of your shop and met you and your son, and also the new Mini E Oracles that were coming off the line at the time. And you guys were gracious enough to let us take a couple home. And this was before Facebook. We took some photos of it, put it on our chat forum, and put our Flag Raider logo on it. And it went everywhere because they were the only pictures that you guys had released at the time. And did we ever get crap for that?
we weren't the Canadian distributor at the time. Badlands was the Canadian distributor, and we happened to be in the right place at the right time and took some pictures, uploaded them to the World Wide Web at the time, way before the days of social media. We all had like Nextel and mic phones back then. But we uploaded them, and we took some heat, but it was well worth it. And at the time, you were making I guess choppers and part of the manufacturing facility as well.
Yeah, that was back when West Coast choppers and Orange County choppers were a big thing.
Yeah, still doing it.
Are you
building
really?
my last bike right now.
Good for you.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Good for you. So that's what keeps you occupied.
A bike with a V8 in it.
Jeez.
You still have that bike, bud?
No, I already got the one with the V8.
I know, that's what I said. You had one with a V8 in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 0 to 60 in 3 seconds.
That's it.
Crazy.
Well, 0 to 100 in about 4.5. So it's
Still
pretty
rookie.
fast.
Still rookie numbers, bud. Still rookie numbers.
Well, I got a boat. It runs 191 in 6.7 seconds.
Jeez.
In a quarter of a mile. That's only in a
He
quarter.
uses it for fishing. He just drags the hook.
yeah, the entire ocean. Right?
I like to get there before everybody else.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. So now are you still physically playing? Have you played paintball in the last little while?
Well, I was supposed to have been in Paintballs for Us, that tournament they have there, and I'm going up supposedly in June 12th up to Sacramento and playing that one.
Nice.
And then I'm going back to Illinois and play there, and I think it's July 24th.
Nice.
And I play around here once in a while with my grandkids and stuff.
But what do you play with? What do you shoot? What is your go-to?
It's one Jeff made me a long time ago. It's pretty neat. I got kind of like the sister one right here. I don't know why my wife left it on the bench, but
isn't that terrible when your wife just leaves paintball guns lying around the house?
That looks an awful lot like an automatic 68 Classic. Is that?
No, it's no, I don't think it's that one.
No, okay. I wasn't quite sure. My monitor's a little off, but
it's badass.
Carnivore barrel.
I forgot what the hell it is, to be honest. You got to forgive me on that one.
Oh, that's all right.
I did take it everywhere and play with it, and if
that might get you in trouble.
Oh yeah.
And what about you, Tom? What do you do to keep yourself occupied? And are you playing as well?
Oh no, I think the last game I played was back in Chicago for one of the what is that Legends game? What is that?
Oh, Living Legends.
Living Legends, yeah. That's probably the last time I played. But I'm doing a lot of science stuff, as most people know. I'm a big science guy. So when you say, "Hey Tom, you get to stay home and work on all your projects," it's like getting locked up in a candy store for me. So I've got a lot of that stuff going on right now.
But you're Tom Kaye, the science guy.
I'm Tom Kaye, the science guy. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. Do you guys know that when he logged in today, he thought his camera wasn't on yet, and he was still wearing his lab coat? He quickly tossed the pocket protector out and put the lab coat down, and yeah.
I do have a lab coat that when the movie cameras. I'm on TV all the time for DB Cooper, and I have a lab coat that I put on just for those shoots, right? Because you're not a scientist once you have a lab coat.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What kind of science do you do? Tell us a little bit about it.
I do 2 areas. I do astronomy, and I do paleontology. So in paleontology, I use lasers to make fossils fluoresce. And when they fluoresce, you can see things that you can't normally see.
Like a hotel room.
And things like that. And then in the astronomy side, we observe stars for changes in brightness. And if you see the right kind of change in brightness, that means a planet is going around that star. So summer times I spend on paleo, and the winter times I spend in astronomy. And
where are you situated now? Are you Air Guns Design was in Wheeling, Illinois, wasn't it, if I recall correctly?
Yeah, no, I'm in the southeast corner of Arizona now, down by Tombstone.
Okay.
So I'm in a town nobody's ever heard of called Sierra Vista, but the next one over is Tombstone, the OK Corral, and all that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever go into town for gunfights or anything, or?
They have gunfights every week at the OK Corral there. That's what we're known for here. My town park is a shooting range.
Nice.
We don't fool around down here.
Jeez. Good for you.
Wow.
So This is awesome. This is fantastic. I've got so many things to ask, so many things I want to talk to you guys about. Before I do that, though, one of the reasons why we wanted to time this to have you guys on the show was because last Monday, a week from today, the History of Paintball documentary was released. And as you guys know, you both had, a little tiny part in that movie. And wanted to kind of, now I know, Bud, you hadn't seen it yet. I spoke to you today. Tom, have you seen it?
You know what? I couldn't download it because I'm in the middle of nowhere and we have a very slow connection.
Yeah.
So John just sent me a thumb drive here that I just got this afternoon. So I watched probably 3/4 of it this afternoon.
Very good. And did they portray you properly? Are you happy with how he made you come across?
Yes. I can't complain at all. Actually, the whole documentary was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I would have done it much worse. Right? If you gave me the job, I would have done a much worse job. John did a great job on it.
Yeah.
He came down to see me when we were filming, and because I've done videography stuff before on TV and also, with the old Automag videos and stuff, I had kind of an interest in how he was going to do it and what his approaches were going to be. And so we talked about it. And I knew it was going to be good right when we were talking about it, but he didn't put it together in a linear fashion. He kind of pulled threads out of a cloth, and you could see each individual thread. So he did it in a very nice way, and I think I was worried about 2.5 hours, but it goes by pretty darn quick.
Yeah. Was there anything in there that you thought, I didn't know that, or kind of took you by surprise? Any hidden facts that you may not have known about?
Oh, well, one of the interesting stories was how John Rice got hooked up with Jed and those guys, right? I know John, but we never sat down and talked about history and stuff. So kind of hearing the European side, I knew most everything that was going on in the American side because, 85, I was talking to everybody in the industry all the time. So kind of knew all the American side stuff, but the European side stuff was much more obscure. So I did learn some stuff there.
Very cool. A lot of you guys in the chat forum, I'm not really looking down as often as I should be, and I apologize. But again, if you guys can get over 100 live views on Facebook at a time, I'll take the hat off and you guys can see what mess is underneath. And then if you guys can also, because we're all sort of involved in the show, can you please hit like and share it to any paintball forums that you think would find this relevant? Any friends, if you have any out there, let's get some numbers on this show, and let's let people know that we have Bud and Tom on tonight. And if you guys have any questions, the whole panel, we're all going to try to watch the comment section. If there's anything in there that guys that you see that we should really ask, definitely do that.
Sasha Pulaski, first time playing, I got plugged in the noggin from a sniper from about 80 feet away. I promptly brought a sniper 2 shortly after that. There you go.
Very good. Now, Tom and Bud, I have to say this. Our studio is split. If you were to ask half the guys in our studio, and I'm not going to point any fingers, Matt and Josh, if you say Tom, Kaye, or Bud, or who has the better format, Matt's going to side with Tom. With Josh, myself, I think Joe and myself might be siding with Bud. Or has there always been kind of a feud with you guys? Or
no, you guys don't understand. You guys blew it from day one, right? From day one, and Bud will back me up on this. All right, you guys always thought that the only problem between the Automag and the Autococker was the users. Right? And there's the other thing. Right? Think about this. Once I explain this to you, you'll go, "Oh, all right." If Bud and I created a big fight between each other, then people would only buy one gun, right? They'd only buy the Cocker or the Mag, right? So if there's 100 players and 50 of them buy a Mag and 50 of them buy a Cocker, I sold 50 guns. If everybody of those 100 players likes us both and buys both guns, now we've each sold 100 guns.
So right? You guys were fixing the market then.
That's right. But by being friendly to each other, everybody would buy both guns, and that was the best scenario for both of us. Figure that out.
Big time.
Yeah.
That Tom and I go play on a field somewhere, and I'd be playing with an automag, and he'd be playing with a cocker, or and they'd say, "Well, aren't you Bud Orr?" "Yeah." "Well, you're playing with an automag." "Well, yeah, it's a great gun." "Well, why are you playing?" "God, it's a great gun." And they do the same thing to Tom. "Why aren't you playing with? Why are you playing with that?"
Yeah.
"Well, I like it." And they both go out and buy it. I mean, you know how many people today still have both our guns?
Yeah.
Probably, I would say over 50% of the people that played paintball in the old days.
So
they still have them.
I want to say you guys could have saved a lot of anger and animosity towards players if you just came out with a joint statement like 20 years ago.
We've been saying this since 1990, right? We've been saying this. Every time we get together, we've always said that.
Okay, but
right?
Yeah.
You know when you guys watch a long-running show like Game of Thrones or Sopranos and the ending finally comes? That's what just happened right now when I asked you that question, and it wasn't the ending that I thought it was going to be. I thought there was going to be some sparks and some punches thrown and insults.
So can we start over again and just fake it? Right? You guys hate each other.
It's fun. I should have put him out of business from day one.
There we go. That's what we're looking for.
Oh, Jesus.
That'll get taken all out of context, and it'll be on the news tonight.
Yeah.
Tom hates Bud.
on CNN, Anderson Cooper will be reporting that.
Yeah. You guys could be brothers. You have the same sort of facial hair going right now, and
Bud's way stronger than me. Bud could break me in half.
All right. So we talked about who has the better gun, but which one of you two guys are more handsome?
Oh, I think Tom is, because he got more hair.
Yeah, but he's got the better looking wife, right? So
No, I don't know about that.
He won.
Carol, she's awesome, man. I'd watch her for a long time.
This slowly got uncomfortable. I'm not stalling, by the way, guys, in the chat. This is like the highlight of my day, so I apologize. We'll get to it in just a second here. That's fantastic. Good for you guys. Were you guys have obviously been friends for a long time. Were you guys trading, not necessarily trade secrets, but were you guys talking about, giving each other pointers or insights in the industry, or was it kind of closed door?
Well, I'll tell you my end of it. I probably there's two people really important to me in life, and that's Tom Kaye and Ray Gong. And and Tom, I was. You think I'm stupid today on computers? Let me tell you what. I started out drawing. All my gun drawings were drawings on a board. And Tom, I met Tom. He actually flew out, got me started, and he brought a computer drawing system, and I forgot what the name of it was, but he got me to draw it on the computer. And then he'd send me all kinds of stuff. And actually, Tom probably knew way more about my business than I did, because I think there's a couple of times he flew in December and helped me do my books, So I had nothing, absolutely zero, to ever hide from Tom, ever, And if I ran into a problem, I'd call him and he'd answer it. He'd send me all kind of data on it. And then I think the most important thing was one time he said that, "Hey, Bud, here's what we got to do." He said, "You got a machine shop?" He says, "And you're going to, make all your parts yourself?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You go that way." He said, "There's only two ways you can go. You can do that way or send all your parts out. And I'm going to send all my parts out. You do all yours. And that's the only way to be successful, because if you do half and half on either side, you're going to lose it." So that's Tom, like my brother. I mean, he really is. I mean, if anybody said I said anything bad about Tom, I'd smack him.
Well, we do have sound clips right now, bites from Tom hating you, right? So that's going across the internet very shortly.
Hi, I'm Tom Kaye. Who's this Bud Orr you speak of?
No, I love that guy, man. There's nothing like him in the world.
Well, you have to remember back then it didn't matter who was winning or losing on a per company basis. We were trying to make paintball win overall, right?
Right.
You guys were fighting a whole other war. Yeah, it was the acceptance of paintball, or
having the industry collapse around us. You know, did we ever talk about patents ever? Did we ever say we should be patenting stuff so the competition can't get it? Nothing like that, right?
Well, what I found really interesting in the film was you Tom, didn't really want to get into the politics and the rigmarole with high pressure air, and you kind of handed over the whole air system to, was it Air America, for them to kind of help that get started, and that was, you know, not done selfishly. That was to kind of help everything, right?
You know, exactly, right? That was probably the biggest mistake I ever made, was not patenting the compressed air system, right? Even if I'd still given it to Dan, I should have compressed. If I had had that patent, then when, you know, lawsuits showed up later on in that decade, I would have had something to fight back with. But not having anything to fight back with, you know, that's why all the little guys like us in Indian Creek, you know, couldn't survive in the long haul against the bigger companies with stronger patents and big pocketbooks.
Yeah. Hey, Brian Famstow in the chat says, great show. 2 legends and 5 nons. I'm just kidding. That was me. And we have, who is it that just asked the great question? He said, Roger Weber wants to know. No, it wasn't. It was someone else. Joe said, how many mags did Airgun produce over its life? Do you have any idea of how many mags you guys put out?
About 150,000.
Wow.
You know, I remember buying, I had lots of auto mags through my time, but I still kept my mini mag. But I remember every auto mag, including the sidearm pistol I got, taped elastic around the regulator or the grip, was chronograph record showing 3 shots always. It was kind of neat. You'd open your auto mag box, and inside on the regulator or on the back would be, you know, this little, like a cash register receipt with, you know, 3 shots out of a chronograph printed off. Really cool. Just sort of that proved that the gun actually worked out of the box.
But see,
yeah,
but
didn't believe we actually test stuff. If and to this day with my shoebox compressor, if it comes out of the box not working, they go, "What? You didn't touch this thing?" Yeah, you know.
But see, at Wargame Products, instead of Bud doing that, he gave a follicle of hair to every box that he sold a gun to, just so that they knew that Bud had something to do with it.
That's right, I'm bald.
Yeah. As I say, we went down to your shop, Bud. You had a great shop going there. You had guys, putting the guns together right there, assembling together. If I'm not mistaken, some of them, you had some machines machining down there, did you not?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, the day that Joe and I were there, you guys were unveiling the mini mat, or the Mini E-Oracle, but yet you were tinkering with a motorcycle, if I remember correctly. You got up, shook our hands, and then your hands were covered in grease and a shop rag, and you went back and you were tinkering on your motorcycle. Has that always been a passion for you?
Yeah, I've always built a lot of things. Most of my cars over the years I've built myself, and I built a lot of cars, and I got into building bikes, I think, in 2000. No, actually, 99. But I've always had a Harley and all kinds of different bikes, and I race desert, ride dirt bikes, still do. So, yeah. But no, I love bikes. I've got one out there now that I'm finishing up. It's a devil-themed bike, and I've been actually, don't laugh, but I've been building that thing for the guy for 15 years. And he changed his mind a lot, and I think it's on Facebook. There's the Chopper guys, Orange County Chopper.
Oh, okay.
They brought up a website, and actually my bike, the one I'm building right now, is on that. It's the first pictures you'll see. So
nice.
I sent them in, but no, I've always built bikes and stuff.
Cool. So with
I like to go fast. My biggest thing is going fast. So.
Well, the bike you were speaking of at the top of the show didn't sound like it was going very fast. Only 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, was it?
Yeah.
Hey, so with the advent of this,
60 to 0 in like half a mile.
Yes.
Actually, probably more than that.
So with this paintball documentary that came out last week, I want to hear from you guys. You guys were near the beginning of paintball when you guys were manufacturing paintball markers. Did you kind of think this is where we'd be with paintball, how big it is now? Are you surprised by it? Do you think it's not as big as it should have been? What's your thoughts? Like, what were your eyes back then? Were you thinking optimism?
I want to step on the question a little bit, Todd.
Oh, no.
Was it just for you guys when you were tinkering with your markers and products, or did you see this as viable for the paintball community?
Go ahead, bud. You can take that one.
I thought it was, well, when I first got into paintball in 1984, and then I started tinkering and stuff, and I think I built my first gun or marker in 87. I always thought it was going to be bigger, I mean, it grew really quick, and there was a lot of safety issues. And Tom, I remember at times he'd save the day because some town or some state's going to vote on something, and he'd take. I think one time when he flew out and got Jessica and him flew into some town just in time to save paintball from being banned from it. So there's something like that. But I always thought it was going to be big. And but when they went to shooting 15 balls a second, 20 balls a second, I had my doubts at that, because you take the fun out of it. To me, the fun is woods ball.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line is, that's it for me. I mean, I still love woods ball. I'd play woods ball anytime.
Well, sure. When you see it on TV or in the movies, it's not speedball that they're portraying. It's people playing in the woods. And Tom, what about you?
Well, in the early days, I was playing paintball. I never thought about it as a business. And then I lost a big customer. I was manufacturing stuff. Lost a big customer. So I went to PMI when they were very, very small. They were in a 3,000 square foot building, three employees. And I said, well, I can make you this paintball mask. And they said, well, let me see a prototype. So I ran back to the shop, and over the weekend, I whipped out a prototype, and they bought 500 of them on the weekend. And it was like, great, I'm not going out of business. And then that's what got us into the paintball market. Now, I'd played a couple times, thought it was great, a lot of fun. Didn't think so much about where the industry was going. But then after I got into things, it was a big discussion that this was a fad, right? If you talk to people back then, it was a fad. Anybody who'd been around from that day, they say pinball. They didn't even know the word meant, paintball. Now it's part of the lexicon of American society. But back then, nobody knew the word or anything. And that's a fad. That's a fad, right? It came and went already. So everybody that I talked to, like Perlmutter and Freeman of PMI, they thought, well, we got about 4 or 5 more years, it'll be done. Right. But, to everybody's surprise, it kept going and going and going. I said, it's a lot smaller today. I'm not even sure of that. Maybe you guys can tell me. It seems to me that it's smaller today than it was in the heydays of the 2000s. But
it peaked in 2007, 2006, 2007. It peaked 2008 when we had the recession. It dropped. It's considerably smaller, but now than it was.
But it's
airsoft has taken a chunk out of it and things like that.
It has, but the mechanical and the mag-fed genres of paintball seem to be growing again. People are going back to the roots. Although speedball is having great numbers, the NXL is boasting the best numbers they've had in a long time. But I feel that with the ICC and all these other mechanical tournaments, people seem to be going back to the grassroots of paintball. And I think the paintball fields, much like Joe and I, kind of realize that it's not like tournament has never been a moneymaker for us. It's always been the rentals and the guys with their own equipment, the mechanicals, those guys that come out, the diehards, that's what pays the bills, right?
Well, that's what Bud's referring to. Bud's referring to the fact that you could come out as a newbie and play in a game with a bunch of other people and not just get wiped out.
Yeah.
And that was a big topic of discussion in the mid-'90s, and it was a topic of discussion once semi-autos really got going, electric guns especially, when they would shoot, like LaSoya said, 1 million rounds a second.
Yeah.
That, we were having discussions as an industry, what should we do? And the force feed loaders were coming, and I warned everybody, once force feed loaders, that's the only restriction that you have for speed on these paintballs, was the speed the loader could feed the balls.
Yep.
Once force feed loaders became a thing, it was a new game. And there was a bifurcation, I think, at that point. So the field owners went off and did their thing with their new guys, and the tournament guys went off and did their thing.
Yeah.
And the two didn't really connect after the mid to late 90s.
For us, Joe and I talk about this a lot. Back in the IAO, we remember listening to, was it Woz or Tadeo? One of the guys or companies were talking about putting ramping boards together. And Chuck Hedge was up there, and he was like, well, we need to have boards that stop people or limit them from being able to overshoot and change their settings and stuff. And as soon as we heard this controversy, it's like, you know what? We just killed our sport. Now with electronics, there's no way to stop or keep every gun legal. I mean, at least with a mechanical gun, it comes down to a physical ability that the player has to have. As soon as you put a battery in a gun, that changed our sport.
Yeah, but you guys still made the RT Pro illegal.
Sounds like bitter pants.
You can't get an RT Pro into any tournament. I don't care where you're at. You can't get into any tournament. That thing's illegal. All I can do is make it better, and then you make it illegal? That means I made it too good? Is that the question?
Okay, Tom, how many years ago was it ago? Let it go.
But we are now creeping up to 40 years of paintball, and you gentlemen have created two amazing platforms of the sport. And talking about mechanical, the return to mechanical, who are they looking at? They're looking at both of your products to get them onto the field, right? So that's got to be a nice tap on the back and, like a fill your bucket moment that although 40 years later, we're still returning to the stuff that you guys have created. So are you guys going to step on the field with your gear, start a team?
I would like to try the MagFed thing, especially because they're shooting, my rounds, the first strike rounds came from my company originally. I'd like to see what that's about, right? Because it's like a one shot, one kill kind of thing. I've never actually played a paintball game that's a one shot, one kill deal. I think Bud will agree. Even in the early days of Pump, we were trying to throw as much paint down range as we could.
Jeez.
The MagFed genre version of the game is fantastic. It really reverts back to the early days of creeping around the bush, hide and go seek, tag. That's where it takes you back. You can dress up if you want. You can be a Navy SEAL for a day, but the MagFed really, really changes the game, and it changes how you play and how you think. It really almost reverts back to the 10-round tube days of the PMI 1 or the Nelsons or anything like that. It's a fun way to play paintball.
Yeah. Hey, the comments are going really quick in the live chat, and I kind of want to throw a couple questions at these guys while we have them. So I apologize for cutting this off. But Taylor Christian in the chat says, Bud, what is your favorite Cocker body cut that you guys had? Was it the Carnivore, the Pro Stock, the Oracle?
Probably, I would say the Carnivore. I mean, I really like that one. That was probably one of the last ones Jeff designed.
Yeah. But do you have any kicking around brand new in a box still?
Yeah, a couple. Who surprises me is Jeff. I think he's got some stash somewhere.
Yeah.
I had a lot of guns, markers. I call them guns.
Yeah, they're guns.
It's okay. We're not offended.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But I over the last 10 years, I ended up giving majority of them away. A guy come in and booing, and here, take this. It's all. Yeah. And they go, whoa, I smiling, and you know what? 10 years ago, and they're still smiling.
Yeah.
And they're still playing with that same gun. So.
I have autocockers and I have guns from you guys, but if either of you guys gave me one, it would be I get it. It would be you'd be over the moon, right? No. I'm not asking for what I'm saying. If I had
you're gonna fish that hard, get an actual pole.
No, I'm not asking for a gun. But if I had a story,
no, six. No, not one. 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
Jesus, you gotta watch what you say with these piranhas here. Jeez, but I have to say, you guys, the equipment that you guys have, as Gavin said, people are still playing with them today. The quality build are fantastic. And Tom, I'm going to give you a highlight of the best thing I ever saw a guy do. Well, sorry, the most indestructible thing of one of your guns was a guy named Tony. He used to play a long time ago, and he had an auto mag. I don't know which one he had, and he had a warp feed on it. He had gotten off the field, and he was known for his temper, and things did not go well that day on the field. And I don't know if it was him or a teammate or whatever it was, but he was so mad. He took his gun and he punted it. He just gave it a huge kick, and it launched forward and came back and hit him because he had a remote coil attached to his gun. And to this day, I still remember that, and I find it one of the funniest highlights of my paintball career, just watching him do that.
That's
and
cool.
It still shot. It still worked when he kicked it. But
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of stories like that,
Yeah, we see a lot of...
And the guns are still around, most of the mags and cockers are still around. They don't disappear.
Well, look at your eBays and your Craigslist. I mean, they all are out there. They're working. People are still using them. There's not a year that goes by where, our shop doesn't see several of them come back through where guys are like, hey, can you fix this? Well, what's wrong with it? Well, nothing. You just give it a tune-up. I haven't played with it for a while. So you put some air in it. And in your case, Tom, with your gun, a little bit of lube, and away she goes. Right. And, you shine it up for them and polish it up, and they're happy to play again.
So a question from the chat, clarification question, Tom. You had made mention of shaped projectiles that you started. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, what you guys know today as the First Strike rounds are the consumer evolution of the FN 303 round, which we developed, I don't know how long it was ago now. It's probably early 2000s. So we developed the spinning, what you see as the First Strike round. We had a heavier version of that, an 8-gram version of it that shot out of the FN 303 and was used for crowd control, and that was only sold into military and police. And it's actually very popular. We actually have 1,000 of those guns here on the border, protecting the border. So then what happened is Perfect Circle then decided to go into the consumer side of it. So they made a 3-gram version, which more closely matches that of the regular paintball. And now that's the one that you guys see in the mag-fed stuff all the time in the First Strike round. So that originally started the Perfect Circle paintball, which started from the plastic paintball. And we started that project in 1989.
Wow.
So that thing has been around a long time.
Speaking of First Strike, we talked about your foray into high pressure air, but what about these guys?
The Warp Feed, one of the coolest products I ever made. That it had a very short lifetime for the amount of investment.
Well, there was not enough plastic. Those things were built like brick shit houses. I mean, I think you could drive over those things and they wouldn't break.
That was the point, right? Everything I ever made, I made it with the best materials possible. And that was the problem. Originally, when we were selling to 35 and 40-year-olds in the 80s and early 90s, stainless steel was a high-quality item. By the time we got to 2000s, little kids would go, stainless steel is what my mother's kitchen utensils are made out of. It didn't mean anything to them, right?
Yeah.
So, making the Warp Feed, we knew it was going to get banged around, right? If you were jumping into a bunker, it had to survive. So, we made that. We thought it was going to be a big deal getting the hopper off the gun, but it wasn't. And this is the lesson I learned there. It wasn't the look and feel of paintball. And to this day, the way you hold the hopper, angled in, all that stuff, that is the look and feel of paintball, and they don't get off of that. People they don't come away from that, right? Every version of paintball today is only slightly different than the version they made last year.
Yeah. Do you know how many physiotherapists owe their kids college tuition to the damage that is caused by their hands holding that warp feed in their arm? Just that sheer weight of them. Yeah,
Couldn't handle it, huh?
That and the Z grip.
Oh, the Z. What were you thinking? How much whiskey did you have when you designed the Z grip?
No. How do you hold a paintball gun?
Normally.
Right? That's how you hold. If you hold your hands up to your face like this, is how you shoot the gun. Which way is the angle of the grip? Not like this. This is stupid, dumb, ridiculous. You'd never make it that way to start, right?
I think I hit another sore spot, didn't I?
The perfect execution of what paintball should have been had you been listening.
All right. So if you guys are watching at home, pay attention. Do not bring up the Z grip with Tom, nor do you bring up the X mag at tournaments with Tom, because he will go ballistic. I think there's a vein popping in his forehead right now.
RT Pro. X mag was never a problem.
Oh, sorry, the RT Pro. My mistake. Oh, boy. Bud, are you enjoying this, that he's getting the spotlight of all this shit?
Oh, no. I gave him a little shit because he quit making them, and I made some bodies for him and the carnivore side feeds. And I just found one. I made it about a year ago. Some guy had it, and I bought it from him. And it's in the museum from Bill Bailey. So
yeah. Nice.
But them things are nice. I loved it. But I can't find them. I got 3 more bodies, I think, I'd like to make with warp feet on them. But we'll see.
That's great.
I come across them.
John Amadea in the chat just brought up the 6-pack. Is there a story behind that?
I know who is the original one. I heard that story.
Does.
Go ahead, Tom.
I don't know who has the first one, but
I thought I heard Bud say that he had it.
You got it, Bud? Do you have the first one? Did I give it to you?
Yeah, you said it. I mean, it's still kind of rusty looking.
Okay, I stand corrected.
And you sent me a box of the valves, because I was going to make some my pump change. He said, "Well, I got the valves." I said, "Okay." So he sent me. I still got about 2 dozen of them, and the pump changes I made. But no, Tom, that was a great idea. That was killer.
Yeah, so 6-pack. We'd already made the micro CA, so the story starts with the micro CA because we were making products for PMI, and we had done a bunch of things for them and worked with Sheridan. Sheridan didn't know what they were doing either, still don't to this day. So we had gone up to Sheridan. We were working with them to make their guns better. We were working with PMI. So everything that we did with PMI, they took it and sold it. I was never considering getting into the paintball industry, right? So we were making the masks and all that. So I developed this quick changer, the micro CA, and I brought it to PMI, and I said, this thing's going to be $50 wholesale. There's going to be $65, $70 retail. And they said, oh, that's too much money. We're not interested in it. Nobody's going to sell a quick changer for that. So that kind of put us off. So we had to go back and say, well, what are we going to do? We got this product fully developed. So that's when I started Airgun Designs and started going into the market selling the quick changer. Well, lo and behold, it was a huge success, right? It was a big deal back then. So I'm looking at the thing and I go, well, the only thing that could be better would be is if I could change these cartridges automatically. So it was like after dinner, and it spent about half hour, 45 minutes putting together a couple of pieces of sheet metal I had with a crappy spring, and I got it to cycle. And I said, if I can make this thing work in 20 minutes, I can probably make a product out of this. And that's what got the 6-pack. Now, the problem with the 6-pack was that it killed, and Bud's going to laugh here, it killed 12-gram cartridge tournaments, right? Because by the time you could change the cartridge that fast, there was no restriction to 12-gram. And that wasn't mentioned in the documentary, that tournament level stuff was 12-gram back in the early 90s, late 80s.
Well, and that's the thing. Like John had shown in the film what a piss off people was when Constant Air came in with CO2. You know how there was such an uproar that you've changed the game now that you've got a Constant Air. I mean, I can only imagine if you had this quick change, 12-gram, how much that would have changed the map of playing. My gosh. Sorry, Joe, your microphone's off?
Are you there?
Joe, your microphone's off?
Oh,
there you go.
I remember we went to a tournament in Ohio. It was in the late 80s. I don't know where it was, but we took a 30-man team to this tournament, and we all had 12-gram guns and stuff. But there was, 20 teams, each with 30 guys. I don't know in this day and age if it would be possible to get 30 people together to go to a tournament to play against other 30-man teams. But that's what we did, and that was in the probably the 87, 88. Crazy, long before Constanair had sort of come in the thing, or just before Constanair.
Hey, Joe, Brad Kelly in the live chat has a great comment. He says, what does Bud think of all the other off-brand cockers?
Well, hope to make money. It's my thing is, I don't make them anymore, and I got a lot of bodies left, but I don't have anything else. But if somebody can make something that keeps the sport going, I don't care. I mean, that's my deal. I mean, if they can make a good cocker, then go for it. But there's some of them out there that try to get too expensive. They put too many doodahs on them rather than going back to the basic and let somebody else put the doodahs on them. Yeah. I just want people to build something that people can go out and have fun with.
And that's something that, Bud, your company has helped more retailers in paintball than anyone else. And even Tom, some of the automags, like when you guys ship them in a box, there's your gun. But there's no ASA on the bottom. Some guns don't have regs. And right out of the box, you kind of have to put it together. You have to say to your local retail store where you bought it from, hey, I want to finish this gun. I want to put an ASA on the bottom. Maybe I want an on and off ASA. Maybe I want to drop forward. So the man, the retailer had the customer come back every couple of weeks with the ability to add upgrades, and maybe it's a new aftermarket 3-way for the autococker, or maybe it's a different barrel or a new bolt. I mean, War Games products kept a lot of retailers busy for a long time.
Here's something for you guys, both of you, to think about. Not necessarily a challenge, but this is 2021 will be the 40th anniversary of the first ever paintball game being played. You should both make a limited edition 40th anniversary paintball. You could make, Tom could make an automag, and Bud could make a 40th birthday autococker. That would be kind of a neat thing. Do them in limited numbers. You don't want to obviously lose your shirt. You want to make a little bit of money, but it might be fun for you. And Tom, if you start tinkering, you might come up with a mag-fed automag. People would dig that.
Tom could do that in a heartbeat.
The problem is you can't make low volume anymore, right? We don't have it, and Bud will confirm this too. If I wanted to go make a couple dozen of something,
it'd be extortionate.
Yeah.
Or collaboration.
Can't you just 3D print?
Worlds collide.
There you go.
40th anniversary collaboration, taking the best of California, the best of Arizona.
The Bud or Tom Kaye feud is over.
Yeah.
Even if you just made 6 of them, it'd be awesome.
You guys are like the Hatfields and McCoys.
Yeah. People don't realize it, but Tom had a lot to do with some of the things that I built. And I had a little bit to do with some of the things he built. So, if you really look at the early guns, what trigger frame was on them, the first ones, it was mine. So, but I mean, he started making his own, but the whole thing of it is that Tom and I work together on a lot of projects. There's a lot of people in the industry would make bad parts for my gun, and I'd call them up. I'd say, okay, I'll give you the drawing. Just make good parts. I don't care what you're making. And they say, well, why are you doing that? I said, I want you to make good parts, because if your part fails, it isn't your part failed, the gun failed. So now it's back on me.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I would make the parts, put their name on it, and give it to them.
Yeah.
And sell it to them real cheap. And there's a lot of people people go out and buy it. It's the same damn thing I was making, but it looked different.
Yeah.
And naturally it worked better, right?
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Devin Schwartz in the live chat says, what about an autococker Mag RT?
I was just thinking of that myself.
Robert, go ahead.
Going to be illegal in tournaments everywhere.
Yeah.
So this question is for each of you, Bud and Tom. What is the product you are both most proud of? And
not proud of. Let's put that out there too.
No. Let's
Since
go with
you stomped on my question before.
Sure. Let's go with the positive first. What is the product that you're most proud of? We'll start with you, Tom.
The product I'm most proud of was the RT valve. Right. If you went through and if I sat down with you and went through how that valve worked to recharge that fast, you would have to be saying, wow, that's a really different way to do it.
Only a guy in a lab coat could do that.
It took a team of people to come up with it and to work out the bugs. The concept was fairly easy, but there was a shoot down problem with our guns. And we wanted to eliminate the shoot down problem. So how do you do that? Well, I ended up making a gun that shoots up, right? Which was another problem. But that is the trickiest, most intricate, most novel design of anything that I did. So I'm most proud of that, even though it was not the most successful, product.
And what about the worst? Have we talked about it already?
I'm freak out when I say this. The X-Mag.
Really? I thought you were going to say the Z grip.
No.
Why the X-Mag?
Hey, it's his question. He said X-Mag.
I know you're a Cocker fan, but stop trying to piss him off.
Why the X-Mag, Tom? Why the X-Mag?
Because I almost had nothing to do with it. Right? I never saw a blueprint for it. So John Sosta was the one that cooked up the whole X-Mag thing in England, and people liked them, and the ball got rolling, and he just kept making them. And if we had problems, we just would tell him this is the problem, and he would do something to fix it. So I had no control over what was going on with that thing, but people loved them, so we did them.
Yeah.
So that was the one that was probably the flagship of the whole thing at this point. But I had very little to do with it.
Yeah.
Very little to do with it. So,
all right. So, Bud, what's your most prized product, and what is not?
I think the sniper pump is my prize. I mean, I love that. I still got number one, and I can fire it up right now. I still shoot 285, and I have never ever had the valve out of it ever. So that's my best. And the worst, I would think Ranger, know, and because I was trying to help a guy out. What was the guy's name? The black guy in Chicago, Tom, that made, God, I can't think of the name of them. I got a couple of them. Oh, I can't remember his name. But anyway, the gun never made the marketplace, and so this friend of mine had all the trigger frames. So I made the Ranger to fit them trigger frames, and every gun I sold to this guy I made them for, I lost $3. So.
Okay.
Jeez.
Yes.
Hey,
he hammered me down so much. Oh man, I got to have it cheaper than that. So it was in that real early days.
Yeah.
But,
hey, what did you think, Bud? What did you think when you heard that a bunch of guys from the UK put together a grip that fit on your gun to make it electronic, and all you had to do was drill out the body, and you can have this electronic gun or electronic gun now with eyes on it? Did you know that was coming out? Did they ask you for anything, or did they just kind of bring it to the market and you saw it?
No, we worked on it. No, they did. Nobody really ever just, well, there's one guy did, but he passed away a few years back. But most everybody worked with me,
That's great.
with anything.
Yep.
The actual first electronic gun that I made was a friend of mine made it here. And he didn't make that many of them, but he probably made a couple of dozen. And he had a bunch of engineers working on it.
Wow.
And, I go off-roading with him all the time still.
Wow.
But, very smart guy.
When the guys at Planet Eclipse came out with the E1, the electronic grip for the Cocker, that was, from a retailer standpoint, when Joe and I saw those come through our store, we thought, okay, we might sell one or two of these. But they were a hot item. People would come in every week with their paycheck. They would buy it. They'd ask us to drill out the body and install it for them. And they were taking an already awesome platform and now making it electronic. At that time, that was a huge game changer.
Yeah, it was. And when Bob Long got a hold of it, he really liked it. And I said, Bob, you and I know if it's got electric battery in it, you can cheat with it. So, no. Hey, that's just bullshit. It's and shit. He had people working on the board by the next day, I think.
So you bring up Bob Long. Would Bob Long be considered a friend of you and Tom? Would you guys go way back?
Oh, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
No, Bobby is. Yeah. I don't have any. I don't have any bad friends. Palmer. People say, "Oh, Palmer hates you." He's one of my best friends. I mean, I love the guy. I mean, he picks on me once in a while, but that's okay because if I didn't make what I made, then he wouldn't be rich either. I mean, everybody benefited off of my platform, and I love that. I had 360 companies making parts for my gun. 360.
Wow.
When I sold my company.
Wow. I got to bring this up. Joe and I are big fans. Actually, all of us are big fans of the VTF or the tactical autococker, the VTF. Was that your design? Was that who put that one together? I know it's an autococker. They dressed it up with some Oracle stuff, but it was a really exciting marker or gun or.
It was my son.
Yeah.
Jeff. Jeff and Rob. Well, there was quite a few people in the company got involved in it, but Jeff was the spearhead on it, and Jeff has got a most incredible mind for design. I mean, you should see some of the cards we built and some of the suspensions he puts out. It just, I was good, but I mean, he blows my mind. I mean, today he does.
So what you're saying, Bud, is we should have him on the show.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He's so quiet. He stays to himself. But he's a great designer, and that's his baby, and along with a couple other guys, I think too.
I have a question for Tom. Going back to what you were talking about with the X-Mag, how you had very little involvement with it. Off the top of your head, what are some of the improvements that you would have done as opposed to John overseas?
An actual question.
Well, when you're producing a product, my tendency was to make things and put all the complexity into one or two parts. Right? There's a couple of reasons for that. Then you only have to focus on making the one or two parts right. And then it's also very hard for people to copy it. Nobody's made a duplicate Automag in the last 30 years, right? It's just hard to do. Yeah. So that was a strategy. Now, had I been listening to my friend Bud on marketing, that the marketing to have pieces that are interchangeable and replaceable, much better strategy, right? Much better strategy. So it wasn't until the 2000s that we actually started coming out with a bigger variety of stuff. But I'm never, when we produce a product, it's very specific. We have very specific tolerances. We have very specific QC. We have a lot of very specific things that we go through. And if you show me a product and I don't know that it's been through all that, it's just not how I work. It's not to say the product was bad. It's just that it makes me feel uncomfortable because I don't understand the details I can't verify the details behind it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the deal.
Yeah.
Right. That's the deal.
Yeah. Hey, I have to apologize to our viewers and our sponsors real quick. We've let an hour lapse. We haven't had an opportunity to ask a lot of your questions, and we also haven't said a big thank you to our sponsors: GI Sports, Air Ups, Ruthless, Altama, Exalt, Planet Eclipse, Enola Gay, Ninja, and Lux. Guys, if it wasn't for these companies, Behind the Bunker wouldn't be on the air, and they help support and grow paintball by keeping us on the air to educate people in the sport of paintball. So, guys, as much as this is a blatant plug right now, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. So try to give them a like on Facebook, find some of their products. I mean, I guarantee, because we were able to choose our sponsors, guys, I guarantee you're already using some of their products because they're the best in the industry. Second only, of course, to Airgun Designs and Wargame products, of course. But these products, guys, are the leaders in the industry. So please help support them because they are supporting the industry. So thank you to all those guys. Tom?
Yeah, and if it wasn't for AGD, I would not be in the sport today. My first marker was a mini mag.
But didn't you say you liked Viking over the mini mag?
No.
I had to do that. So Tom and Bud, I thank you very much for being on the show. It's an hour has passed. We could probably go on with you guys for 2 more hours and would love to do so, but I think we probably should end this now. Any other final thoughts, guys, before we let these guys go? I mean, there's lots of things we could be asking them right now, but and Joe, your mic's off again.
That's turning on now. I'm really looking forward to the 40th anniversary Automag and Autococker as well. That'll be, or Sniper, 40th anniversary Sniper.
Yeah.
Really looking forward for the Paintball's 40th. So
yeah, for sure. Well, what we're going to do here, guys, we're going to say goodbye, but don't go anywhere. Tom, thank you for being on the program tonight. Thank you for agreeing to do this. Awesome. And Bud, thank you for being on the show as well.
Well, thanks for asking. I appreciate it. And it's great being here. And I love seeing Tom. All you guys.
Very good.
You do a great job, and your sponsors. I think I use everything that all your sponsors have. So
I appreciate that. So thank you, Bud. Guys, don't go anywhere. Thank you to Josh, Joe, Matt, and Gavin for being on the program. I'm going to have a quick hard out, but we'll see you guys, I guess, next week. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, we're live every Monday night and Saturday night, and this show will go up on YouTube, Facebook, and as a podcast. So, guys, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.